Also, how you were talking about kind of breaking the loop in your behavior, like, oh, I want to make a change to that one thing, to break the loop, and then you start with something small, and then it ends up affecting more things. And you mentioned sometimes it's hard because you don't get pats on the back for those little things,
Yeah, well, they're often so small that it's humiliating that you even have to do them.
Yeah. But and a lot of time, like to yourself, it's like kind of big, like I'm gonna drink 8 glasses of water a day now, And then it's almost like you're seeking that pat on the back, like you want to tell your friend, like, hey, I drink eight glasses of water now. And they're just like, yeah, so?
Yeah, right.
And you're like, why do I even, part of you is kind of like, why do I even do it then if no one's going to care?
Yeah, well, there's a lesson to be drawn from that too, in terms of relationships that's really useful psychologically is, and this is a big mistake that people won't make. It's like, if you want to have a good long-term relationship with someone, then you watch them constantly, and when they do something that you like, you let them know.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small thing.
Yeah.
Because they're way more likely to do it again. And so sometimes a person will have kind of an inkling about what they might do that's good, or that would be good for their relationship with you, or that might even just be pleasing to you, but they won't say anything.
Yeah.
They're like afraid because maybe they won't get attention for it.
Yeah.
But then they do it and you notice, it's like, man, that's super powerful. Like you have to be really attentive though, because the good things that people do don't stand out. The mistakes they make stand out. And then you say, well, you made a mistake. It's like, yeah. But to watch and to reward someone for doing something small right, that's a step in the right direction, that is a killer strategy.
I found that to be true with my daughter. She's 4.5 now. But
And some kids really, some kids are tough and they don't respond to punishment at all.
Yeah.
It's like you just can't, you can't intimidate them.
Yeah.
My daughter, if I just pointed at her, she would stop.
Huh.
But my son, it was like, that was just round one. He'd just laugh. He'd just laugh and run away,
Yeah.
So, but he responded to reward like mad. If I watched him and he did something that was good and I told him that, it was like he was just like, yes. So,
dang, that's good.
It's reward is harder to use, but it's more effective if you can manage it.
Yeah. And then that's not like kind of how you say, where you're like, be careful with the reward when you give like too much reward for these small things, and then they come to expect that kind of thing.
That's the problem with the self-esteem movement, Every kid gets a trophy day.
Yeah.
It's like inflating the currency.
Gotcha.
If everything is good, then nothing is good, because there has to be a distinction. So you want to watch, and you want to see when the person's made an effort, and you want to see when they've gone beyond the call of duty. And then you want to say, hey, I noticed that was really good.
Yeah.
And it is, scarcity really matters in those situations, because otherwise it just turns into noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, patronizing noise even, which is even worse. It's like, oh, you're doing well. Oh, you're doing well. Oh, it's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
It's such a lie.
Yeah. I have a fun time with that, actually. If I have to judge, and all through my kids' lives, if I had to judge them and their friends, and I have 3 daughters and 1 son. Usually it was the daughters. I was being some kind of a judge. I'm going to judge the dance. I'm going to judge the little play that they put together. I'm going to judge the acrobatic routine that they're doing in the backyard. And I always be judging these things. And I would have so much fun, because I would say, they'd do their little performance, their 1-minute performance. And they'd come out and say, well, how was it? And I'd say, okay, first of all, presentation overall, I'm giving you a 4.2. I didn't see one smile until you actually got on stage. That's wrong. And I would just go through and give them these really strong critique points.
Yeah.
And they loved it.
Yeah.
They loved it.
That's
they didn't get mad. They would be happy to, and they'd go try it again and try to raise that 4.3 to a 4.5. They'd be smiles like you could see from a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
I just got done. I was at a pool party with a bunch of little kids running around, and I ended up judging the diving competition. And all the parents were watching. And they were aghast at what I was doing.
Yeah, that was at my house, by the way.
Oh, I did it there too. No, I do it on a regular basis, but I did it at your house too, right? Yeah, you've seen it in action. I give the kids little really nicknames, and then I say, you were completely unbalanced when you left the board. It was almost embarrassing for me to watch you. Go try it again. I'm giving you a 2.2.
Yeah.
Go try it again and see if you can bump that up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the kids get all motivated. They go up there, and next time I give them a 2.5, and they're ecstatic.
You've treated them like someone who could improve.
True.
Right? So that's a big deal. That's better than a pat on the back. It's like, because everyone's flawed. and everyone needs to improve. Also, when my kids were little, I taught them how to speak in public. It took about an hour, and that was it. So I had them, they had to read something, and so they'd read it, and I was across the room and say, well, that's not loud enough. It's like, I can't hear you. It's like, belt it out. And then they'd get a little louder and say, no, that isn't what I mean. Read it way louder than you think you should. And so they did that. And I said, well, that's about right, because there's nothing more appalling than listening to some speaker that you can't hear. It's like, there's just no excuse for that. And then, like, make it clearer. Put some passion into it, And it was unbelievable how quickly they would pick that up, And that also made me sad because it took so little time to get them to do that, and then they had it, And so, and that like a critic is your best friend if the critic isn't destructive, because what a critic does is say, look, you did 10 things, and like these 5 things, you need some work on those. They're not good. And here's some things you could do that would make them better. And here's 2 things that you got all right, and here's 3 things that you did pretty well at. And so then, well, what's the message? The message is, hey, you can handle some actual criticism. So you're not some little, useless, wimpy thing that's going to die just because someone isn't telling you that you're already wonderful. Plus, you're not already not nearly as wonderful as you could get. So let's keep that in mind. And then, you lay out a pathway for improvement. And then you treat the kid with some respect. And you also show that being an adult means that you know more than being a kid. Because, the kid does something, you say, oh, that was really good. It's like, what are you saying? Well, as an adult, I don't know any better than you do. And that's a pretty dismal message, because the kid is going to be an adult for a very long time. And one of the things we do really badly in our culture is model why being an adult is better than being a child. Because it is better. You have freedom, and you have responsibility, and you have autonomy. And so we're always so concerned about making our kids feel good about themselves. It's like they should feel good about becoming responsible adults, because they're going to be adults for like 80 years, and they're going to be kids for like 20 years. So the adult's the goal.